All right, everybody. Thank you for coming to the first one of these. This whole idea came from the fact that we're all pretty bored and we're looking for football and anything to get us back to kind of a normal life here. So, in the chat right now, if I could just have everybody who's here just type their names in, just so I know exactly who's on the chat. Some of the names came through differently. So, I see Paul's here, Cohen Bonnet, Peyton, Mr. Sidebottom Saint, Mags, Coach. Perfect. Mosher. Perfect. Okay. So what I hope to get from this, I want to do a bunch of these online courses where we can actually um, figure out a way to communicate without actually having to practice and that kind of stuff while we're here on lockdown. So the first one I thought I'd do, I'm also going to invite some other guest speakers to come out from this. If some of you know me from the Dickinson Academy, you can figure out who I've reached out to and figure out who will be coming in future sessions. But the whole point of this is to just talk football and go from there. Your coaches may have a different opinion on all the stuff I talk about. This is the way I like to run things, and these are things I like to see. So the first one we're going to talk about is the vertical passing game, or what I like to call just throwing the ball downfield. So for Jacob Taves, I see a couple other linemen, Peter in there. This isn't exactly in your wheelhouse, but I'm hoping you can learn some of the concepts and learn something from today. So first things first, I want to talk a little bit about our agenda for tonight. We're going to talk about my rules of being a receiver, and then we're going to go over corner routes, hitch routes, vertical routes, and if we have time, we're looking to cut this off at about 8 o'clock. I want to run some middle hook plays for you guys and go from there. At any point, if you have any questions, feel free to write them into the chat. I've muted everybody so this doesn't become everybody talking all over each other. But if you have a question in the chat, I really want you to ask questions. I really want this to be a back and forth kind of scenario here. So with that, let's get started. Ask away, Danny. My day was fantastic. I appreciate you asking. Danny's going to be making some appearances on the tape today, so look for him. So first things first, I want to talk about my rules of being a receiver. There's not a lot of them, but they're really important. We're going to see on this tape, spacing is a big deal for receivers. So if we're not using the whole field, we're allowing the defense to catch up. I really want to put defenses in a bind, and the way we do that is by stretching the field. I'm also going to talk a lot about pre-snap reads today and coverage. Okay, if you use your pre-snap reads well, it gives you a 10-second advantage, 5-second advantage on where the ball is going to go and how to go from there. So take advantage of that. The other thing is work as a unit. There's only one person getting the football on each individual play, so we need to be making sure we're doing our job even away from the ball. You're going to see some examples of some really selfless players. I saw Ty Metcalf checked in there. Ty, you're on this tape a couple of times doing the right thing. It's 4 people trying to get one person the football, not 4 people trying to get the football. Those are my basic rules. That's all I really have for you when it comes to what I expect from a receiver. Let's hop into some of the videos. So the first thing we're going to talk about is hitches. Now, I apologize if the video is a little bit choppy. It's everybody's internet connection is going to be a little bit different, so I feel sorry for you if it's too choppy, but we'll go from there. So on this first play, coming out of the huddle, pre-snap comes over. What we can see from the defense, Okay, I'm going to stop it right here. What we see from the defense is that the safety rolls down and covers the inside slot and everybody bumps out. This is indicative of man coverage, right? We have 3 guys down on the bottom side of the field. We have 3 guys covering them. The play we're going to be running for the next 6 or 7 plays is all hitches. So 6-yard hitches. What I expect from each receiver is that they get to 6 yards and stop. I don't want them working back to the quarterback. I want them catching the ball at 6 yards. Reason for that is I like to see 2nd and 4, not 2nd and 7, right? If we're at 2nd and 4, your coaches have their whole playbook ahead of them. If we're at 2nd and 7, now we're very, very limited. So spacing is super important. And where we run this route is super important. So we're looking for these receivers to be at 6 yards. So right here, the spacing's pretty good. What I ask the quarterback to look for is going to be softest coverage or most open guy. So as we see right now, most guys are pretty well covered. I'm going to let the tape run a little bit more. Danny does a nice job finding the open receiver. And we're going to take a 6-yard hitch into a touchdown. Okay, I'm going to show that one more time, get some talking points here. Okay. Again, the spacing on this route is really good. I really like this. I really like the fact that we're really putting the defense in a bind. You don't have 2 people able to cover 1 receiver. And then we're going to go make a big play out of this. Any questions on that play? Let's go to the next one here. Okay, it's the same play, but it's going to be a bit of a different coverage look. Okay, now we don't have any pre-snap motion here, but what we can see, and let me just get my drawing here, is you can see kind of a W look here, right? If we see different contours and we see that corner really deep and we see that halfback really shallow, this looks to me like it's definitely going to be cover 3 or some sort of zone coverage, right? So at this point, we're going to be looking for uncovered receivers or softest coverage. That wide out looks pretty juicy with the corner going there. So let's run the play. Let's see what happens. Presses down. We get press coverage. And we get a nice throw right in the middle. One thing, if we could roll the tape back a little bit, that I'm not a super huge fan of. Sorry, I'm just keeping adding people to the room here. What I'm not a huge fan of is when the receiver catches the ball here, he works back towards the quarterback. Now, his feet right now are just about in line for a first down. If he works back too far, we're not going to get that first down marker. So make sure that when we get 6 yards that we don't move back because we want to keep that 6-yard threshold. Okay, and if we look at the bottom here, even though the coverage is really soft, we see, I believe that's you, Ty, right here. You've got a little bit deeper than that 6-yard mark. It gets tempting when we see the corner drop off like that, but we still want to make sure we're at 6 yards, primarily so our quarterback can make his read and get the ball out quickly. Successful play here. Going on to play number 3 here. Now, again, we're going to get a pre-snap look here. We motion a guy over and nothing really happens. Everybody kind of widens. This is weird to me, okay? This is a weird defense for goal line. Most teams will not run zone in the goal line, and I'm going to show you why in a second. But if you're a quarterback, you should get licking your chops right now because you know we're about to score a touchdown here, okay? Most teams will run man in the red zone. We run this play a little bit more. I really like our spacing here. As we run it, you can see nice, easy touchdown, right? Spacing is important. Knowing the coverage is important. And it works out on this play. Any questions on captain so far? Any questions on this hitch route so far? You can still hear me on the chat line there? Perfect. Excellent. Excellent. Now, if we go on to play number 4, let it run a little bit here. Okay, when we look at this coverage again, we can tell by the contour here, right? This is not 3 guys lined up in a line, okay? If you have three defenders lined up on a line covering 3, their eyes are looking at the receiver, that's a really good tell that that's man coverage. But looking at the very bottom of the screen, you can see that corner dropping out already. He's what, about 10 yards off the receiver already. He has the deep third. This is cover 3. And again, when we're looking at cover 3, we're looking for softest coverage. Okay, we want to make sure that our spacing is good and give our quarterback a really nice read. Okay. So one of the questions we just got in, if you're pre-reading press man coverage, what do you want your quarterback to do? If it's press man, nothing really changes. You're still looking for the most open guy or the shortest throw, right? So the press coverage guy, if it's man coverage, some offensive schemes will have a conversion off that, where if you read press coverage, you're automatically converting to a 9. I like that, but that's something you're going to see at the higher levels. So some of the Bantam players probably won't be able to see that. But that's a good question. You're going to see press coverage here, but this is press cover 3. And again, nice spacing. Okay, I would have liked to see the inside receiver here. I would have liked to see him fight a little bit more through that that jam, but it is what it is. Okay, pretty good depth. Ball comes out. You can tell that because it's cover 3, that corner drops out. That's a nice, easy throw. The Mavericks really like to jam. So when they jam, that halfback can't make it out to the flats. His job is, of course, to get the flats in cover 3, but he's too busy worrying about the jam. That wideout's going to be there all day. That's a nice, easy take, and that's a good throw from our quarterback. See, Danny, so far it hasn't been too hard on you, has it? All right, we're going to look at a different team here. This is us at the Mustangs. For those of you who don't know, I coach Raiders and Mustangs. Now we're going to watch this play here. Right off the back, I'm a little concerned about the spacing. This is a bit different coverage, but we still have 2 guys covering 3. And right now, the top guy right here is basically covering these 2 players. So what I'd like to see from these 3 guys is better spacing. If this guy was right about here, now those 2 guys have no prayer of covering 3. We've put them in a bind, and we can make a really, really easy take without a lot of work here. But spacing is askew. Quarterback makes a bit of a bad decision here. I don't like this throw. I would have preferred him to throw to the wideout. As you can see, that corner drops off. This is a version of cover 4. He drops off. This receiver is wide open, and he has about 20 yards of green grass in front of him if we can make that catch. Okay, moving on. I've got one more hitch route here to look at, and then we're going to move into corner routes. Okay, I'm going to stop it right here. For people on the chat, what coverage do you guys think this is? Anybody at all? So Danny says man, Danny says zone, Tyrell says man, Cohen says zone. Okay, it's a little bit tricky, right? We've got 3 guys out, but we still have that contour here. Okay, my key is on the motion here. As we motion, they do nothing different. right? Now, this guy should have been going to the flats. He didn't. We throw to a situation here where we've got a guy covered by two people. It's a completed pass, but what I don't like about it is how open the middle receiver is here, right? So this is when we talk about uh, the most uncovered guy. If we're able to complete this pass right here, we've got a touchdown. There's green grass in front of him, and we've taken a cover three scenario with a 6-yard hitch, and we've turned it to a score, right? Just because we're running hitches doesn't mean that it's a short yardage play. This really does mess up defenses. It does put them in a bind, and it's something if your coach doesn't have in their playbook, they should look at it. All right, let's move on to something else here. Let me just exit. Oh, sorry, 1 sec. I want to exit. Okay, we're going to move to corner routes now. Okay, corners are a really great big play. Okay, I like to run them out of two concepts. I like to run them out of an 825 where you've got a 2 and a 5 underneath it, or I like to run 8 hang 1. A hang route would be a 13-yard out to the sidelines where you just run diagonal. Really good cover 3 beaters, really good man beaters. You've got a little bit of everything in there. Okay, this kind of play is super important that we get a good pre-snap read. If you don't get a good pre-snap read, you can get yourself in trouble. I'm going to ask, I know we've got Brody, we've got Saint. I'll pick on Saint here. What's our rule about throwing a corner? I know you know this. See the corner, throw the corner. Good answer. What that means is if you have a corner dropping deep, you're probably not going to be able to throw an 8 into that coverage. You're looking for an interception there, right? We want to make sure that that corner is playing man coverage before we throw that 8. So we're going to get a couple of looks at this. I think I've got 6 or 7 cut-ups here of different looks. The first one is against man coverage. It's against the Cowboys. Cowboys were really good last year at man coverage. Here's how you can tell it's man. We motion over, and they actually bump out a linebacker. This is not a look most teams do. They usually run over a halfback or bring the safety down. They have some confidence in their linebackers, though, and they think their linebacker can cover a slot back. They were really good at it. Man coverage here. As we run this route, okay, we see our corner getting caught up in a really fancy kind of move here. Okay, if you have man coverage, you should get some big eyes, come down, cut out. You're aiming at that first pylon of the end zone. Okay, reason why you're aiming for that first pylon is it gets that right angle, and your quarterback can throw you open. So I would have liked to see, I think this is Blaze Newberry running this. I would have liked to see him, instead of getting caught up here, end up right about here. At that point, the safety can't help, and the linebacker is in a complete chase mode. Because he gets tied up here, we have a really nice slant. Ty Metcalf is going to make a really nice catch here and turn it upfield for some yards. Okay. Now, Ty is not the primary receiver on this route. Ty should not be catching the football here. He is the second choice for our quarterback here. This is why it's super important when I talk about 4 receivers trying to get open and I talk about 4 receivers trying to do a job to get one guy open. You never know when you're not the primary route, right? Ty probably saw man coverage, probably thought, okay, this is Blaze's ball, but he runs his route hard and he makes a smart catch, turns it upfield. We have a nice run. I still would like to see us break free of that jam and get out of there, right? You don't want to spend any time playing with linebackers on that 8. Okay, next play, we're going to be against Cowboys again. It's man coverage again. Okay, again, we know this because when we motion, you're going to see that linebacker bump out. Okay. Sorry, I lied to you. You're going to see him come down from the safety position. Okay, so they're actually doing a bit of a different look here. Now, we ran that slant quite a bit. They knew we were going to run 8s here at this point in the game. So now we have man coverage, but we have it really far backed off, right? These 3 guys are really looking at these 3 guys here. Okay, they're manning up on them. So as we run our 8, as you can see, our receiver slows down. What I'd like to see Blaze do here again is to come out here, right? He is not going to win motoring down here. He needs to be over here to catch the football. Okay? And again, we have a secondary receiver who's probably not supposed to be getting the ball in this play. We're looking for the 8 first, and he's going to come across and get a 1. And we have a successful play, even though our primary receiver is taken. Hey, nice, tough play. Okay, moving on to play number 3. I promise you, we'll get into some cover 3 stuff here. Okay, again, this is going to be man coverage. Okay, this is a much better 8, though. I believe this is Kalen Jones. Kalen, are you on the chat? Perfect. I think you run this route just perfectly here. Okay, man coverage. He's breaking out. I actually would have liked to see our quarterback take a shot there. We did have a halfback who was covering and a linebacker covering. I didn't like their coverage. I'll take the completion. And again, we were doing that all day against them, but you want to look at that 8 over top. Just trying to make sure we have a couple of late joiners to the chat here. All right. Oops, sorry. Here we go. Sorry about that. Okay, play 4 here. Okay. So watch what happens when we motion over. Mavericks defense is being super aggressive here. Okay. So if you look at this play, you saw the safety roll down here. Okay. This safety here is coming down to cover the 3rd receiver. There is nobody covering deep third of the field here. Okay. This is called cover 0. It's a man cover look. Quarterbacks, when you see this, start to look to your kicker because this is big play time. Okay. Basically, right now, we have a safety who's not used to man-to-man coverage coming down to cover one of the best players on the field. This play is going to work out pretty well for us. As we can see, this is an 825 concept. Bangs it out. I love this angle. This is the first pylon. Okay, you always want to aim for the first pylon when you're beyond the 25-yard line. If you're within the 25-yard line and you're in the red end zone, we're looking for that back pylon, right? But right now, that's the angle that's set. This quarterback was the special kid and nails this throw. Okay, this safety didn't have a chance, and that's actually a CFL player now. That's one of the Stats brothers that just got passed over top there. So it's not that he's a bad cover guy. It's that he's in a situation where he can't win, right? When you see cover 0 against an 8 quarterback, you might take a hit there, but you've got to hang in there, and you've got to make the play. I'll run that one more time for everybody. Just let me get rid of the notes. Okay, motioning over. Okay, right there, we know it's cover 0. Nice big throw. Now, one thing I want to highlight down here, okay, if for some reason this play was covered, I have 2 receivers working hard down low to get open, right? I would have liked to see this receiver work his way back, but the ball was already in the air and he was going to come off the ball anyway. Okay, any questions about that? Okay, moving on to our next one here. Okay, now this is against cover 3. How do we know it's cover 3? Okay. It's actually kind of a cloud look, right? You see this guy matched up on this guy. 20's eyes are not on his receiver. 20's eyes are staring right at our quarterback, okay? His job is to jam this guy and get to the flats here. Okay? This is our deep defender. This is our deep defender. This is our deep defender. Okay? We're probably not going to win on the 8. Right? The 8 here is not going to be a successful play because the corner is going to be deep. As you can see, the corner over here is already backpedaling. We've got a safety deep. We've got cover 3 look. But it's important here. Okay, we've got the slant. It's complete. But what I really want to see, and we're going to see a really good example of this coming up, I want to see this guy, split these 2 defenders. Okay, the thought behind that is if we have 2 cover 3 defenders and we split the difference, neither of them know whose zone they're in. So you end up taking 2 guys 35 yards away from the play. Okay, so always, 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 if you've got an 8 and you're running against cover 3, split the 2 defenders. If you split the 2 defenders, you're going to work to get the guys below you open. Okay, it is a sprint for you. It's a long run. But what it does is it allows your teammates to get the ball. It's an example of selfless route running, and it's key to game. Also, if these guys don't react to you running and splitting the difference, you might score a touchdown. We might actually be able to run it into almost a go route, right? If these guys stay flat-footed, you might be able to turn this into a win. But we kind of don't take that route here. Get a nice under, though, and we get a nice first down. Okay, this play is, I believe we drop it, but I want to run it in its entirety here because I'll show you what I'm talking about here. So if I run this back a little bit, watch the inside, watch the 8 route here. It's a work of art. So Tristan takes a couple of steps. He is working to split these 2 defenders, and look what it does to them. No matter what happens underneath, these 2 guys can't make a play, right? They can't. Sorry, Danny. These guys can't make a play, right? We have stretched the field vertically. They are out of the play. If we complete this to Blaze here, Blaze is going to have 20, 25 yards to get downfield and to make a play, right? So I really like what Tristan Remus, he's a U18 receiver, does here. Okay, even though it's not a successful play, we can still appreciate that. Danny, just to be clear, is it hard to watch because it's you throwing the ball? Yeah, good question, Tyrell. Let's roll it back here. I would say yes. Simply because if you're watching this game here, right, he's going to jam and come underneath, right? So Blaze, his route is a hang route. He's going to hang out. That's why it's called a hang route right here on the 50-yard line here. So pre-snap, we've seen this jam a lot. If he jams, he can't get out to the flat fast enough. It's too deep. So I really like the hang route against cover 3, press cover 3. Just because this guy's going to jam and try to get out to the flats. He's not going to be able to widen. This nice route by Tristan is going to take these guys deep. I really like the hang route against that, and that's the pre-snap read. Does that make sense? Yep, you could have put Ben in the hospital. that's a good point. Okay, I got one more in here on corner routes, and then we'll move to, if you know me, my favorite route, which is 4 verts, and I could talk for an hour and a half. Ronan Thompson is. I don't see him on the list of people. Tyrell, if you could just tell them to keep trying. If not, I can make this available on YouTube later for people to watch. Okay, looking at this play here, right? I really like corner routes in red zone play. The reason why I like corner routes in red zone play is because there is absolutely no way to cover that 8 underneath, right? So we can miss, and we can miss in the end zone. So for you quarterbacks listening and for you quarterbacks watching this, if you've got an 8 in the end zone, especially a guy like you, Saint, with a big, strong arm, same with you, Danny, if you're going to miss deep, right? Very hard to pick off a ball going deep. If you underthrow this, it's going to be tough. This isn't a complete pass, but I really like the route and I really like the throw. Right? We're aiming at that back pylon. Ball is thrown at the back pylon. Gives our receiver a really good chance to catch it. Even though he wasn't able to catch the football, we lived to fight another day. We took a shot, but there was absolutely no consequences in the form of an interception. This is a much safer throw than all hitches. This is a much safer throw than slants. When you see man coverage in their red zone, an 8 is a great route. If you watch the pro game, you'll see that all the time. Is there any questions on corners before I move on to verts? Okay, I'll take that as a big no. If we have time, we'll cover one of my new favorite route concepts, but if not, we can go from there. Okay, so here we go. 4 verts. Now, the way I like to run this is out of a balanced look 2x2. So we're not going to get a pre-snap read from motion. But what can we tell from this defense here? What would be a good pre-snap read? Anybody who's on the chat right now? Yeah, Saint, it is cover 3, but can you tell me why? Yes. Cornerback halves pressed. Exactly. So McGuire makes a really good point. This halfback is deep. This corner is deep. This halfback is going to press and then come to the flats. It's a look that if you've played the Mavericks, you'll see a lot, especially if you're a passing team. They like to do this. Okay, so right here, Ty Metcalf is this low receiver, I believe. Is it 17? Yeah, it's Ty. Okay, so when we're running four receivers against cover 3, it's a tough life being a wideout because they're not going to get the ball very often unless there's a bust in coverage. But not to totally suck up to him, but Ty Metcalf is a very selfless player. And here's a really good example of this. He runs a nice outside release here at the bottom. Right here, he forces number 77 to turn his back. Okay? 77 turns his back. He is no help to the safety who is absolutely frozen by Danny's eyes, right? He doesn't know which way to go. 77 can't come help out because of the outside release of Ty Metcalf here. And we've got a big play. That is an easy take, but it's all the work of that wideout at the bottom. Okay, the wideout at the top is doing the same thing, but the corner is baiting him a little bit. He's not buying it, right? But that is a beautiful example of a guy running to get another guy open. 77 did everything he could to be a part of that play, but because we had a good outside release, we made a really good play there. Okay, a lot of people think four verts is just running straight downfield, but there's a lot more to it. Okay, we got another one coming up here. I hope I get to pick on Ty again because I don't think this is as good here. Yeah. Just look at my notes here. So again, what's the coverage? Yep, got it. Cover 3. We can tell by the contour. Okay, Now, Blaze is going to make a great catch here. Successful play, but watch the steps from the receiver down at the bottom. Sorry, Ty, I gave you some praise. Now I'll call you out a little. Okay? We're not working to get as far outside. Number 15 never buys that you're a realistic threat here. If our first step is out here, he either has to turn and run with you or he's getting burned. Okay, when we were playing another team, they really bailed on the wideouts, and the wideouts ended up getting the ball. But I don't want 15 turned this way. Okay, I want him facing this way and running deep with you, right? Up top, we have the same problem. Okay, we have a lot more green space here, right? This receiver should be working out here in order to get this guy out of the way. He doesn't do that, and now we have a bit of a tougher catch, right? Luckily, this kid's a pretty fast kid, and he had pretty good hands. Nice play. Okay. Different team, but same look. In this case, our quarterback decides to move the safety with his eyes and ends up throwing to that side. So this is a really good example of looking at the guy you want to throw to. Okay. Again, we have a bit of a different look. This is kind of a cover 4-ish kind of scenario here. No, sorry, I lied. Cover 3. Okay, Josh throws the ball right to the guy he's looking at. We actually make a really good play here, but there's an easier play to be made right there. This receiver is wide open. As you can see, the safety flowing over here, right? So quarterbacks, if you can move a safety with your eyes, if you can watch this receiver all the way downfield and get that safety out, you have a wide open guy on the backside of that vert for cover 3, right? So make sure you're playing with your eyes. I don't like quarterbacks who wear visors. If you wear a visor when you play, you really lose the opportunity for safeties to read your eye. Defensive coaches, defensive halfback coaches will teach their safeties. Have a look at where the quarterback's looking. If they're taught that, we can take advantage of it, right? So have a look. You know where the other guy's going to be. Trust he's going to be in that spot. I really like this outside release here. You can kind of see it out of this frame, but this guy's respecting it and bouncing out. But yeah, it's a good looking play here. I would rather not have to make a tough catch. I'd rather number 5 just walk into the end zone. But it's neither here nor there. Okay. Okay. Now, this play, what's our coverage here? Let's ask Brody. Yep, Brody's got it. We've got a different contour. It's not as pronounced as they usually are, but same kind of contour that we've seen from the Mavericks before. Okay, we're going to run this play out here. Our receiver on the bottom actually does a pretty good job at an outside release here, but I want you to pay attention to the spacing up top. Okay, so right here we get jammed, and right here we have 2 receivers basically in the same spot. Whoever this is, this guy can now cover 2 vertical routes. So it's super important when you get jammed to get back on the plane. Okay? So if we're right about the yard marker, just inside the yard marker, right here we get jammed out, I want to see this guy work back here. Okay? It will put a safety in a bigger jam than if you don't. Because right now, the top 2 receivers are being covered by one guy, and that's not a scenario that's a winning scenario for offensive-minded players. That being said, safety decides to sleep a little, and we get a big play over top. I think we would have had a touchdown if we had better spacing at the top. Okay? I know it sounds small, and I know it sounds like a nitpicky, but spacing can do everything, even if it's away from the play, right? We have 3 guys trying to cover 2. There is absolutely no way they can do it. Sorry, I got that wrong. We have 3 guys trying to cover 4, and there's absolutely no way we could do it. Coach Tyrell's right. a lot of good DCs will teach the short side corner to play tighter to the slot versus verticals in cover 3. That being said, you still need to run your distance and run your route the way you need to run it, right? This is the discipline, right? It's not just sitting around and chucking a ball deep. I've been accused of that by some defensive-minded coaches in the past, but for some reason this play always works if you get the spacing right. Okay, a really good example here, probably the best I've seen of a safety being moved by the quarterback here. Okay, we had a really, really talented slot back. He ended up playing out in BC last year. And everywhere he went, the safety would decide that that was the guy getting the ball. But when we're running a system, an offensive system, at least on teams I coach, it's not about getting one particular player the ball. You teach the system. And in this case, the system is look the safety over, throw to the other guy, right? This is a really good example of this. They're in cover 3, right? Now, right here, you can see the safety decide this slot back is not burning me deep. Number 5 is not getting the ball no matter what happens. Unfortunately for the safety, we run this play right over top and we're gone. Okay? So again, this is a really good example of looking off. If you watch the quarterback here, quarterbacks, see right there, see his eyes. I know it's hard to see on the tape, but his eyes are looking right downfield. They're looking right at that slot. He has successfully baited the safety into moving over, knowing full well that 3 guys can't cover 4, and that backside's going to be wide open, right? Really good play by the quarterback to make this throw. Excellent football, great concentration, and we're off to the races. Okay, I am sitting at 7:45. I expected this run to about 8 o'clock. I've got a different concept that I could teach you guys, or I could answer any questions. I'll leave it up to you if you want to put your answers in the chat. Do you want to talk about any of the concepts we've run or ask any questions? You just want me to keep going, Danny? Okay, perfect. So I'll leave this open to any questions here first on these, and then I've got 3 plays of a middle hook concept that I really, really like. Any questions at all? Okay, we're gonna hop right in then, since nothing's coming through. Gonna hop right into a play. I stole this from actually the Stampeders. They run this a lot. This is called Mohawk for them. I don't know what it's going to be called in your system, but we've got a cover 3 scenario here. Okay, we've got an outside release 9 that we need to take. This receiver has a really important job. He's got to come right at that linebacker, and then he's got to bend it to the safety shot, right? So after I call this a wrap route. He has to wrap the linebacker and then control the safety, okay? He's not getting the ball. What we're trying to do is stop this guy from widening to his zone, right? Outside linebackers usually get assigned hook to curl in cover 3 systems, okay? What we want him to do is be late getting to the to the hook to curl zone. Ty's job here is to make this guy turn and run. Probably not going to win on this route, but again, he needs to work to get another guy open. Very selfless thing to do. Again, I can't stress that enough. If you're a receiver, you need to know that if you don't get the ball, but your team passes for 300 yards, you've done your job, right? Absolutely, Tyrell. Run for the love of the game. You'll hear me say that a lot. Okay, as we run this play, okay, we're working to get this middle hook open. Okay, so as we run this route a little bit here, Tristan Remus does a really good job of stopping the linebacker from getting anywhere, right? The linebacker is inside of him the whole time, cannot widen at all. We have an outside release 9 holding this guy deep. He knows what's going on. He can see it. He can see that this is going to the middle hook right there, that number one is going to stop and hook up, but he is too far away. This linebacker is late. The halfback is too shallow. He had the flats, and now he's coming to recover. Safety is too far away. Receivers, I got to tell you this. You are going to get hit on this play. Yeah, I know, Ty. You could have forced it a little bit more, but he didn't bite at all. But that middle receiver, you've got to be tough, okay? This is not something you can bail on. If you bail on this play, your coach will never run it again, okay? Blaze does a great job sitting in the hole, knowing he's going to get hit because there's three guys who are pissed off that he was in the zone, okay? That is a great play. That takes 20 yards right off the back. Simple to execute for the most part. But again, most important thing we need from here, if I go back to the start of this play, we need to wrap that linebacker, okay? I don't want him to widen. He doesn't widen. He doesn't get to where he should be. That's a great take. We'll have one more look at it here. I think I've got 3 looks of it here. It's a relatively new concept for me, so I haven't ran it too much on tape yet, but one I really, really like. So again, we motion over. Okay, I know it's cover 3, but can somebody tell me why? Depth and contour, absolutely. Another way we could tell, is Mosher on the call here? Adam, if you could tell me another way we could tell. We've got depth and contour. Danny's 100% right. Got that W shape. We've got the corner dropping off deep. What else? He's too busy breaking his elbow. Can anybody think of one other thing here that tells us right away it's cover 3? Nothing on the motion, exactly, right? So when we motion over and they don't do anything, we have basically 3 guys covering 2 here, right? So we know it's some sort of zone, right? Hey, yeah, Danny, you stepped on Cohen here. Again, we're trying to stop this linebacker from widening, okay? It's not a pick play, right? We're not trying to run at him. We're not trying to block him. Your aiming part is the outside of his shoulder, and you want to brush up against him. If you can hit him on the outside of his shoulder pad without making it look like you're trying to rub him or make a block, that is exactly what we want here, okay? Up top, we're working to get outside, and this guy is going to come right here, sit in the zone. Right? Makes a great catch. This guy's mad because he saw it happening the whole way. There's nothing he could do about it. This is quickly becoming my favorite cover 3 beater. Right? You can really break the back of a defense by showing this look. Okay, got the same thing down here on the bottom here. Okay, receiver's going to wrap outside. And away we go. Right? Now, this is what I'm talking about. We run this play a couple of times. Defenses start to get wise to it. They're still. Yeah, you're right. You're right. So defenses will start to get wise here of what's going on. What I don't like necessarily here, okay? Can somebody tell me what I don't like about Blaze's run here? The middle guy here. Right here. What don't I like about it? Well, he does push outside, but then what happens? Yeah, see, you got it. So if we're going to get jammed, we need to immediately get back to where we are, right? If we run this a little bit further here, Blaze makes it easy for 77 to actually get back into this play, okay? If Blaze got back on his path here, right? We have an extra 2-3 yards. We don't necessarily get hit as hard as Blaze does here, and he does have the ability to go deep down the field. If you do watch the pros, the Stampeders convert this play to a touchdown a lot when they're running against zone defenses, because after they catch it, if they do a really good job with the spacing, they now have a track meet between these two defenders. So let's run it one more time here. I'll just get rid of the comments so it won't stop. Okay, nice tough catch. Now, Coach Tyrell brought up a really good point here. After a while, defenses get sick of getting burned, right? They get sick of you being successful against them. They get sick of seeing the same play over and over again and knowing it's their scheme that's getting them in trouble, right? So this corner will eventually decide, I am sick and tired of seeing this play. I'm going to cheat, right? This is why it's so important to run this route, because 77 is not even looking at Ben Oliver right here, right? Ben's a speedster. He's running a 9. If Danny gives it one more second, this is going to be a big play. Now, granted, it's not exactly easy to do when you've got a guy right on you right there. But watch for those sort of things. Watch for people getting out of their system, and watch for people cheating. I think I've got one more look. No, I don't. Okay, that's all I've got for everybody today. So I'm free to answer any questions that anybody has. We can rerun any sort of plays that you want to see. Did everybody enjoy tonight? Was it a good session, worthwhile? Perfect. What would you guys like to see next? I was thinking of corners versus combo coverages. Yeah, I could have a look at that. I thought the next thing I could do is looking at some play. Yeah, Peter. I was thinking of looking at some play action stuff, maybe some zone read concepts. How often would you like to see this done again? I was thinking, yeah, RPOs will be in there. Would you guys be up to do another one of these calls on Thursday? Awesome. Okay. Well, with that, if there's no questions, thank you very much for being a part of this. I miss coaching you guys. I miss being a part of being on the field. And I know that once this all passes, we're going to have a great time running around trying to kill each other. Thank you very much. And with that, I'll let you go.